Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dom Faussette, executive coach and leadership speaker. As the title of this message says, the time to be an entrepreneur is now. Let me share something that I saw with you that kind of spawned this topic. I was, as most of you know, that I'm W-2'd and I'm also an entrepreneur. I came across an email today from a gentleman that is a real cool guy. Like him a lot. And the email said that he was leaving the company because they no longer needed his position. So as I continued to read further in the email, I noticed it said that he had been there for over 10 years. And he has nothing to fall back on. One of the reasons that I got into what I didn't know at the time was entrepreneurship, I got into speaking, was, I would say there's a few reasons, but one of the reasons was to build my network. There's a book that I read continuously called, I'll typically read it once a year, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And the book talks about, it may not say it specifically, but it talks about adding value. The more associations or people of influence that you have in your network, the more opportunities you've got to grow. And for this young man that, I say young, we're probably the same age, we're both in our 30s, who lost his job after 12 years, had he built his network, then he would not have to send an email out to hundreds of people indicating that he lost his job and has nothing to fall back on. See, entrepreneurship is not about this hustle and grind that people talk about. But I really want to start on understanding what ownership is versus, like, say, what if somebody else owns your dream. So many people want to know, like, what can I do to become an entrepreneur? One, there's no age limit. There's no gender restrictions. It's literally that thing that's the right fit for you. It's that when someone else owns your dream, it doesn't have the right fit. For example, you're going to work or working for somebody else. More oftentimes than not, to include myself, we don't want to 100% every single day of the week go to work. That's just the nature of the beast. It's not our company. We don't really have any skin in the game. Yes, we get a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, and there's some nice people there. But if you own your own dream, it's going to have the right fit for you. It's almost like, for those of you that played baseball, if you were a right-handed thrower, that means you have a left-handed glove, and you go to pick up somebody else's glove that's a left-handed glove, it's not going to have the right fit. You put it on, you're like, oh, this is not even mine, and you toss it. See, when you are W-2'd, you're working for somebody else, I tell this to people that are all the time, don't just jump out into entrepreneurship, right? If you work for a company, obviously they have the capital to hire you and probably several others. So take that time to become mentored by those that either own the company or some of the executives within the company and take notes. Take stock in what they're doing because they're doing something right to sustain something. Everything that they're doing, you can apply to something that you're developing. Now, you may not be able to apply it that same day, but I guarantee you, you can apply it a couple days or months or even years down the road. Being W-2'd, working 40, 50 hours a week, it doesn't stop there. You got to follow your passion. And I'm not going to oversimplify following your passions and your dreams. Because, bro, I'm going to tell you right now, it does not work that way. You have to understand that if something is a weight on your shoulders, it's someone else's dream. If you feel that like it provides you like wings to your spirit, that means that it's yours to own. So now the next thing you got to realize is like, what do I do to make this thing happen? This is where books come into play. There's a book I'm reading now. Like this, hands down, is a game changer because I'm not finished with it. It's called The Ultimate Sales Machine, and it's by Chet Holmes, who, rest his soul, is no longer living. But this book is I would put it, where's this other book? Like hand in hand with these two books are some of the best books that I'm currently reading or ever read. going back to entrepreneurship, I had somebody tell me months ago, dude, don't just quit your job and jump out there. Learn from the company and companies that you've worked for. And then while you're doing it, that's the time to kind of sharpen your sword as it relates to what you want to do, your passion. It really started. I had a conversation with a client yesterday. Dude, you got to turn the TV off. Like, there's nothing you're going to get from television. All television brings you is this like pseudo appreciation for somebody else's reality, which is not a reality, but you can make that your own, right? You could be happy every day without commercials. If you're living somebody else's dream, it's 9 times out of 10, let's go 9.9 times out of 10, it's going to drain you of your energy. But if you're living intentionally into your dream, you'll get fired up. Like it fuels you. And then every single thing that you do throughout your day, like you live intentionally. For example, you wake up, you go running. Why? Or you go to the gym because you know your mind's got to be right to live and fuel your dream, right? Then you might go to work and that's fine. But while you're there, connect with as many people as you can because one day these people could potentially be your client. You don't got to sell them anything. You just have to be a value add. You have to be an influencer or a person of influence. And I've used this analogy. It's not even an analogy. Like I've used this before. As it relates to building your character and building up your exterior ability to not take offense to everything. Understand this. In order to shine an object, it's got to get rubbed. A lot of that exterior stuff has to be removed in order for it to shine. So if you're that individual, and this happens to all of us, we're not perfect. I've tried walking on water and I sink. But if you're that person that when somebody cuts you off, you get irritated, why? Maybe that person cut you off because they're going to visit their mom or dad in the hospital and they just got a call and they have to hurry up and get there. So their mind's not right and they can't like clearly think. They just know where they have to go. It's okay. You didn't get in an accident. You just move forward. Don't let it ruin your day. When you live somebody else's dream, it literally will put you to sleep. When you live your dream, and I deal with this a lot. It's crazy. My wife hates it. She's like, babe, I swear you live a completely different life when I'm asleep. I look at I have this little sleep app. I'm up at 2:15 in the morning. I'm in the office writing stuff down. I got Post-its and stuff all over the office. Probably need a little bit more organization, but that'll come down the road. But when you live your dream and you're doing it for yourself, it keeps you up at night. Like whatever you're excited about. Like remember for most of you when you're a kid, how Christmas Eve, you're like, I can't sleep. I got to see Santa. For some reason you fall asleep, but you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Your parents are like, dude, go to sleep. It is way too early. That's what living your dream. That's why I say that's what it feels like. Entrepreneurship is so much more than just what people think entrepreneurship is, which is kind of owning your destiny. Okay, you can own your destiny all day long. Majority of you guys out there don't know what your destiny is. The great thing is that majority of you on this right now, you're moving towards that. You may be a little unsure as to how to do it, but you're putting that energy out there. Before I go on about ownership of your dream, I really want to talk about vibrations. When you get into your car, before you turn your car on, before you do anything, you in an instant have access to country music, talk radio, jazz, hip hop, rap, classical, and whatever other music is out there. But when you click on that radio button and you go to an FM station, say you choose country. Well, you chose country, so that's what you're going to listen to. Check this out. When you take that same scenario, now apply it to your life. When you choose to hang around negative people, you could be the most positive person in the world. But when you're around negative people, it's going to infiltrate into your head. I was in the grocery store the other day with my daughter, and we had listened to some Rihanna song because she wanted to listen to it. I'm in the grocery store, and I'm whistling, work, 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 work. I'm like, whoa. Now, I'm a grown man. Like, I have no business whistling that song. But subconsciously, I had heard it prior to going into the grocery store. So if it works that simple, what do you think the people in your life that are negative, what do you think they're feeding you subconsciously? And then you wonder why you come home and you're mad at the dog, or you're mad at the wife, or you're mad at your spouse, or your kids. You're like, I don't know why I'm mad. Well, you've been hanging around negative people all day long. Let's go back to dream and passion, or entrepreneur, or success ownership. When you live somebody else's, say, dream, it literally takes you out of your strength zone, which is horrible. Many of you out there are not runners, right? So your strength zone may be working out in the gym and not running 5 miles. But if somebody said, hey, I need you to go run 10 miles, you're going to look at them like you're crazy, because that's not your strength. You got to build up to it. Just like entrepreneurship. You have to build up to your entrepreneurship journey. You have to build, you don't just get success overnight. That's not how that works, right? But when you live your dream, it takes you out of your comfort zone. And being an entrepreneur is really, I'm not going to say nothing more than stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's everything taking you outside of your comfort zone. Because if it was comfortable, it'd be easy. And entrepreneurship, or anything that you want, anything that you're working towards, is never going to be easy. For example, I wanted abs. I started working out to get abs. I was like, you know what? This is a little too much work for me. I'm good with the half an ab that I currently have. While I'm doing this, if you guys have any questions, for those of you who don't know, I'm an executive coach, leadership speaker. If you have any questions, type them in. I will definitely answer them. I'll be on here for another 5 to 7 minutes. So if you have any questions that I can answer, you probably aren't the only one with that question, but you might just be the one that has the confidence to actually ask it. So feel free to ask any questions for anybody that's on. When you're living somebody else's dream, you're literally fulfilling to others. As it relates to your dream and your goals and following your entrepreneurship journey, you become fulfilling to self. And society nowadays talks about people being selfish and you got to do everything for others. So many people do so much for other people that they forget themselves. Maybe it's time for you to be a wee bit selfish with your time. You don't have to expand your self to everybody. That's not how that works. Why don't you bring it in, rein it on in, and spend time with self, developing self to get self to that next level. Now, once self gets to that next level, now you can help the other people. Just like in the airplane, you get on an airplane, they give you the oxygen spill. Hey, before you help anybody else, help yourself, right? Because if you can't breathe, how are you going to help the other person? It's the same thing when you're following what it is you want to do. And the last one is when you're working towards someone else's dream, or when someone else owns your dream, it requires others to make you do it. How many times you got to wake up and be motivated just to get to a job you don't want to go to? It happens a lot, unfortunately. You hit Sunday night, you're like, oh, I got to go to work the next day. Then you're on the road, you're driving, you're like, I don't want to make this drive. This sucks. I don't want to go. Man, there's no way I can do this for another 20 years. It doesn't have to be that way, bro. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, if when you own your own dream, you will feel you were made to do it. Like, I feel I was made to speak. I feel I was made to be an executive coach. I feel I was made to add value to other people. I felt I was made to change people's lives. Now, as I felt that I was made to change people's lives, it just that thought process took me down the path of being in the military. Then it took me down the path of being a cop. Then it took me down the path of motivational speaking. Then it took me to the path of leadership development, and then working at different corporations. And then finally, after all that, sharpening of my blade, I got to where I'm at. But it took that time for me to learn. It didn't have to take that long, but I'm glad it did, because I learned a lot along the way. So I ask you this: are you ready to be intentional? Are you ready to own what your purpose to do? Right? Imagine if you saw a pregnant woman and you asked her, hey, and she was obviously like 8.5 at the end of her 3rd trimester. It wasn't that like, I don't know if she's pregnant, but I'm asking you, wait, nothing. No, you just know she's pregnant, right? And you ask, so, what are you having? And she's like, I'm having a cat. You would say, what? That doesn't even make sense. Because you're expecting her to say, I'm having a boy or a girl. That's almost the same, not almost, it's the same when somebody says, so what are you passionate about? Well, I go to work. That's not passion. That's settling. That's settling to be average. You may be the best at the job that you're at, but you're still settling. Because human nature, we're not made to work for somebody else. We do because it's a societal standard and it's acceptable. I tell people all the time, I only have a job because it's frowned upon in society not to have one. But what your human makeup is to do is to get out, get up, get engaged, and do what you're purposed to do in society. And you have to ask, that's a conversation you have to have with yourself. We are not purposed to work 40 and 50 hours a week for somebody else. Again, we do because it's a social norm. But going back to getting out of your comfort zone, when will you get out of the norm and birth what's inside of you? And that's operating at your fullest potential. Or you don't even have to start by operating at your fullest potential. How about you just open the door to your potential and let that fresh entrepreneurship air just hit you? And then you kind of bask in that for a moment as you begin to think, what is it that I should be doing? What is it that's going to get me out there and get me to add value to those around me? What is it that keeps me up at night? Again, these are questions that you have to ask yourself. Again, my name is Dom Faussette, executive coach and leadership speaker. Thank you very much for those that joined. Think as an executive, react like a soldier, and lead. Lead your life before you try to lead others. And I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day. Did I say die? I'm not even Australian. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.